Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome to the third part of Lifting the Veil podcast with Mystery Anaha. Today, I would love to dive into a topic that so many people are asking me about, which is what is the difference, or what even is shamanism and curanderismo? Many of you who follow me for some time know that I've been initiated into a lineage of Kapanawa Curanderismo the past 6 years, studying under the guidance of Maestro Josué Pérez de Rios. And I am organizing yearly diets to his center and sometimes invite him over to Spain to our sanctuary. And today I want to record this very requested topic. What is shamanism? What is curanderismo? So, both of them are very ancient ways of seeing and perceiving life. And they have quite some aspects in their cosmology in common. Yet, the preparation for individuals, beings, healers that end up working are different. So the training to become a shaman or the training to become a curandero are distinct. So people who are training as shamanic practitioners are receiving guidance and training in shamanic frameworks, such as tribal lineages that are considered as shamanic work, or many training opportunities are offering neo-shamanism opportunities. Neo-shamanism is basically what combines the contemporary thinking and need and adapts it to the ancient teachings, or translates ancient teachings to make them more contemporarily usable and understandable. For example, there are many cosmologies like the medicine wheel that is a very ancient technology, but nowadays there's many different medicine wheels that are being created that refer to contemporary situations and frameworks. So this is what we would consider as studying and neo-shamanic approaches. But let's focus on shamanism and curanderismo. So in the traditional way to become a shaman, because some people ask me, Mystery, are you a shaman? And I'm really not a shaman. A shaman, there's many self-proclaimed shamans in our days currently. Many people that refer to themselves as shamans, which I think is not appropriate. But everyone can do whatever they want. But those listeners to this episode are surely very interested about the ancestral and traditional approaches of how these lineages and how these cosmologies have been initiating people. So let's start with a shamanic approach of initiation. So, a shamanic approach of initiation often has come through being born in a lineage of pages, or of the lineage of the tribal leader or of the tribal shaman of the village. So, often their firstborn son, or further children in their lineage would start being trained from a very early age into the mystery teachings of what it means to take on, receive, and one day be able to offer this work themselves. So a shaman often has one focus medicine. So let's say there is the Ivanova tradition, a lineage of medicine. And so if you're born into the lineage of coming as a daughter or a son of the page, of the spiritual leader, of the shaman of the village, you be very likely if you're taking on this path. In olden times, you've been destined to walk this path if you were born from the marriage of shamanic elders and leaders of the village, parents. You would then undergo the preparation of a shaman. And a shaman, like I said, often focuses on one medicine. So let's take the example of an ayahuasca shaman. So the preparation in shamanism often comes through the learning to prepare the sacred medicine of ayahuasca and sitting very, very many times with ayahuasca. So the shaman has had plenty experience to undergo very strong initiatory journeys, him or herself, and is then later being able to help decoding and understanding what people are going through because he or she has lived this by herself, himself. So, next to learning to prepare the medicine, learning to cultivate the medicine, learning to journey with the medicine very deeply and also under very high doses. So, if a shamanic apprentice is learning to work and become a shaman of the medicine of ayahuasca, he will receive very high doses of the medicine in order to know to which realms in the spirit world and the invisible realms and the realms that is guarded by the medicine she can travel to. During these journeys, he acquires a lot of wisdom, and he also acquires the blessings, the protection, the connection with his allies, soul guides, elders, ancestors, shamanic power animals. And another very interesting and powerful approach of like shamanic training is also that oftentimes shamans in apprenticeship are undergoing strong animal diets. For example, in the Yavanava tradition, there is the Shinguruna, which is the heart of the jiboya, the heart of the cobra diet, where recently a very powerful Yavanova elder and woman I highly respect, her name is Hushao, has undergone this training as the first one of many generations and the first one as a woman. This is a year-long journey of solitude after having eaten the heart of the jiboya, the boa constrictor. So after this heart has been eaten, she goes deep into the jungle and gathers in very strong solitude and drinks medicine, receives messages, and is connected with her elders in spirit. And this is a very short, and I'm not aiming to have a complete overview, but more of a sense of what it means to train in a traditional approach of being a shaman. Nowadays, there is an awakening to not only being connected to these teachings through our blood lineage, but also through our soul lineage. I see a huge wave of awakening that is fueled by the process of globalization and by being able to have access through travels, through money, and also through the opening of indigenous wisdom to Westerners and people from the global north. And I have dear brothers and sisters who've been starting their very humble and devoted studies in shamanic societies in order to be educated and one day be crowned and receive not only the blessing to carry the medicine, but also receive status as a white shaman by the lineage of the people. For me, it's very important to highlight and to pronounce that always involves a blessing. It always involves a lineage. There is a rise of something that is very dangerous, which is the whitewashing of the understanding of how shamanic approaches look like. So recently, someone told me from the United States that you can go and do a weekend course, how to be an ayahuasca shaman, or you jump on a fast train and go into the jungle and be there for a month and then have the blessing or the permit with a certificate that has been printed to serve the sacred medicine of ayahuasca. And this is very, very dangerous because learning and studying and being humble and devoted to the initiations that a specific lineage, a specific tribal wisdom, mysteries bring with them comes over time. It comes through crafting really deep, meaningful relationships with tribal members, with the maestro, with the main teacher, with the shaman, with the page, whoever is teaching you. And it really is it's a journey of initiation that can't be finished in a month, in a weekend, or in a year. And for me, in my understanding, it's also a lifelong devotion to tend to this wisdom and to receive and drink from this wisdom because it takes a life to integrate one thing in a deep way. And I feel that we're very blessed in order to drink from many different lineages and weave the wisdom of them into our contemporary understanding of what's needed for ourselves, for our community, for our clients. And yet, undergoing initiation to be a shaman or to be a curandero, to be a healer, comes not from a short dip in a weekend course or a year-long training. It is a lifelong dedication to tend and weave and deepen into these mysteries that reveal as a reward of ongoing longing and sacrifice and devotion to be initiated by these energies, by these wisdom traditions that bring so much healing and remembrance. So I'm not here saying that only indigenous people can work as shamanic practitioners. This is very important for me because there is such value in white people, people born in the global north, Westerners, let's put it like this, who can offer the bridge from these indigenous teachings to the understanding of what it means to be brought up in a Western society and tend to the aspects of the nervous system and traumatic imprints that are very common for Westerners because we're very different than people being grown up in the jungle or in South America. We have different wirings in our nervous system. So I really appreciate and bless and honor each being, no matter of native, indigenous heritage, from ancestral mystery teachings from the Amazon, vowing to study is incredible. And I empower each being to follow the impulses that come through their blood and their soul lineage. So blood as being born into a specific lineage by birth and soul lineage to really feel the resonance. I know also many beautiful practitioners of Ayurveda, which is an Indian lineage that brings so much healing and holistic life aspects with them in nutrition and understanding of constitution. And I highly respect their work as Ayurvedic doctors and Ayurvedic practitioners. So I deeply believe in the possibility of studying and being received and perceived into a lineage, even though you're not born into it. Just taking a breath to allowing all of these things to land for a moment. And the next thing I would love to share I'd love to go deep into Curanderismo and my understanding as a student of the ancient science of Curanderismo to reveal some of the things that I've been understanding and gaining as wisdom from my studies into curanderismo, especially Kapanawa curanderismo and curanderismo under the guidance of Maestro Josue and Maestro Ernesto. Um, so curanderismo is an occult science, and what I mean by that is that similar to in the shamanic realms, most of the initiatory wisdom comes through orally delivered ancient wisdom. In Curanderismo, I never received teachings from a book, teachings from a podcast, or teachings from a workbook, or any written transcript. In Curanderismo, I am learning through direct oral and directly lived transmission by undergoing a so-called process called the master plan diets. So the process of being an initiate to curanderismo and aiming to be acknowledged, be able to work and sustain wisdom that comes from these realms in the lineage of curanderismo comes through a specific amount of diets and through receiving the blessings of your elders, of your teachers, of your maestro or your maestra. In curanderismo, the apprenticeship looks different than the one to a shaman. Because in curanderismo, a curandero can simply be a healer that works with traumas and healing in spiritual, physical, emotional, ancestral realms. He or she doesn't have to serve a medicine like ayahuasca. He or she can decide if through the studies of curanderismo, this will become a medicine that the curandero, the curandera is also working with. This then is considered as a curandero ayahuasquero, a healer that serves ayahuasca. Or a healer that serves ayahuasca and also works with tobacco would be a curandero ayahuasquero tabaquero. So we can already see here that like the preparation to become a curandero and the preparation to become an ayahuasquero is distinct from the shamanic realms because besides learning with the medicine of ayahuasca and drinking the medicine of ayahuasca and learning to prepare it and learning to cultivate it, it also comes with the preparation of being curandero, which is a preparation in itself. So the first commitment to be the the first thing that has to happen is to be accepted by a teacher as a student. And when this teacher accepts the initiate as his or her student, then he will undergo a specific amount of diets in order to even be able to call him or herself a curandero or a curandera. So in my case, these are 13 diets. Each diet has a length of 8 days and comes with the diet itself and a post diet included. The post diet for each diet is 10 days. Unless you do 2 diets back to back, then you only have 1 time post diet. What is a diet? Yeah, many people ask me this as well. And a diet is a time frame in the way that I am learning to be dieting. It is a time frame of 8 days in which the initiate, the student, makes a commitment to receive the diet. And in this diet, we focus on one plant spirit each time. So, one master plant at each time. Each diet represents one specific initiation with a specific diet. So, diet can be, for example, chirisanango or tobacco or bubinsana, tawari, kamalonga. There can be a diet with ushakiro. There can be a diet with palufiero, mari mari. There's many powerful trees or plants that can be dieted. Ahusacha, Chihuahuaco. There's so many beautiful plants and trees in the Amazon when I tap into them, which is beautiful names, but you won't understand what I talk about unless you receive these diets and these trees and these plants yourself. But each of these diets reveals a unique connection with a consciousness of this specific plant. So your diet with tobacco will foster a connection with tobacco. And ideally, and this is a very important part and something that I've been sharing with lots of students and people who join me in Maestro Josue in the diets or who diet with me in Spain, is there are diets and there are diets. So sometimes in a diet, and there are some traditions who offer diets, but there might not be as profound because there's diets for the preparation of being an initiate into the realms of Curanderismo and with the goal of becoming a curandero. And there's diets with a more soft and subtle intention who don't necessarily prepare you after these diets to receive the power in your spiritual field, which helps you with healings and clairvoyance, clairsentience afterwards. So the preparations of the diets that I'm working in, they always come with a blow of tobacco and with the preparation of tobacco in each diet itself. So the extraction and the preparation of the diet varies because if we simply cook the plant materials such as branches, so in the diets that we're doing, we're cooking the branches, we're cooking the roots, we're cooking the trunk of the stem of the tree. There's other ways, which is more softer diets that might offer a diet of the same tree, but only with a flower or with the leaves. And you can probably already sense what might be a stronger initiation into this plant or into this tree. If you simply drink in a fusion of maybe, a big glass with the leaves and the flowers, yes, we can connect in a very beautiful and subtle, energetic, emotional way with the plant matter. And if we cook the roots and the branches and the stem of the tree infused with tobacco, it will bring a stronger initiation on because it works and roots. The intention of the diet is that the tree or the plant roots into your being and is later available once the diet was successfully completed as a spiritual guardian, as an ally, as a healing support in your field. So this is really important to understand that the curandero or the curandera who is going to receive initiation will go through many, many weeks of her life where she will diet and go into communion with the different plants and trees, in my case, in the Amazon. There's a translation that is happening, which I'm also very curious about and part of, which is to diet the native trees. But as I'm speaking about like traditional apprenticeship and many of the traditional wisdom in Europe has been lost through the witch hunt and through the rise of like Christianity and other strong mainstream religions. We've seen a big fall and a big loss of wisdom for these times, which we can recover through the wisdom that we are studying in indigenous lineages and bringing this understanding to what it is that we as Westerners born into this land, born into these mysteries, can rediscover through initiation from opening our field and opening our wisdom. So when we receive the master plan diet, we will have a very likely not so nice time with crying, purging, grieving, because the plants bring up everything in on the inside to the surface that is not in alignment with the frequency that this plant holds. So the initiate, the student of Curanderismo, undergoes in each plant diet self-healing, guided by the plant and by the maestro. So these are weeks of very strong sacrifice. Often it's difficult to sleep. There's a lot of purging. There's a lot of releasing in many different ways. After these diets are successfully completed and you receive the blessing of a maestro, and this is the same thing for my maestro. He's been undergoing with his maestro the same studies that I am receiving in order to be acknowledged by his maestro and to receive the blessing of his maestro in order to work fully as a curandero. So this is the preparation of a curandero. Instead of the shamanic preparation, which includes animal diets, or the diets by drinking a lot of the medicine that they will end up working with later, a curandero, a healer of this ancient science, studies with many different trees. Many different trees that then this healer can bring if he also journeys into offering ayahuasca as one of his or her medicines into the healing spaces. So the curandero is prepared and received several blessings and several powers by nature itself. And this is, for me, like something when people look at me and like, wow, I had no idea. So yes, this is the difference between the path of shamanism and curanderismo. It's the preparation. It's the tribes that practice different ways of curanderismo. Many of these arts, hidden arts, healing arts, hidden and occult sciences are they are incredibly powerful because they have been kept for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So in order to participate in a master plan diet, you don't have to become a healer. Because one of my first shamanic teachers, like over a decade ago, told me, she said, look, Mystery, in order to be a student of shamanism, to be a student of anything, you don't actually have to want to become a healer. It is so important that more lawyers, filmmakers, nurses, doctors are have received initiation in these realms in order to infuse the wisdom that comes from these preparations, these initiations into the everyday life. So healing becomes diffused by various parts of society. Just taking a moment to allow this transmission about curanderismo to land. I feel very grateful about this opportunity to share more about what shamanism and curanderismo means because it also helps us to distinct and to distinguish. But like you can sit in ceremony with a shaman. You can sit in a ceremony with a curandero, ayahuasquero, tabaquero, or you can simply sit in ceremony with someone that serves the medicine. And it is so important as there is a rise in many realms and many different medicines that people from all over the world are receiving the wisdom of ayahuasca, wachuma, peyote. And it is even more important to understand from whom you are receiving this. Is this a person that has devoted their life to these studies? Is this someone that is a self-proclaimed shaman that has no blessing, no support, no initiation from a specific lineage? And it is important to know that in order to protect yourself, because people who undergo, like I'm on the path with the sacred plant medicine since 11 years. I'm on a conscious journey since 15 years. And I have sat in South America with incredible indigenous elders. And especially in the beginning of my path, I have sat, not many, luckily, but with some really dark, unprepared, and really, yeah, like evil medicine people who harvest energy of people who don't open clear spaces and prayers. And when we commune in the name of healing with the intention to heal and such multidimensional and strong medicines, we are very vulnerable and receptive to energies. And it is very important to learn who are these people holding these spaces for you? What are their intention? What is their lineage? What is their life path? What is their preparation in order to be sat behind an altar and share these prayers? Who are they? Can you intuitively in your gut trust them? And if you don't know them, do you have someone that is a person of trust that knows their way in the realms of Curanderismo and shamanism that is like a heartfelt recommendation? Great. But if not, please do your research. Ask the space holders or the organizers questions. And most importantly, despite what others say, trust in your intuition. If you're not feeling a full yes to be set with anybody, please don't rush yourself. Your intuition and the timing to sit with sacred medicines is very sacred and very important and very mysterious. Please don't fall for this trend of becoming a shamanic tourist to something that sounds incredibly exotic. And, I get it. As Westerners, we crave for exotic wisdom. And there are some lineages that appeal more entertaining, powerful, colorful than others. But what I learned from sitting with different lineages, they all have their unique thread that they weave in this life's tapestry. And some of them work a lot with force and with power, and others work more with quietude and solitude and work more with simplicity and sweetness. And one is not better than the other, but one is more aligned for you than the other in specific moments. And I invite you to trust your timing and I invite you to do the research. If you would trust your spiritual maturity, if you trust your ongoing spiritual initiation with this space holder. Hmm. Yes. If you have any more questions about shamanism, curanderismo, my own private journey of initiation, I'm thinking to soon record maybe an episode about that as well, if that is requested. Please write in the comments and let me know if there are questions, anything that resonated, or you would love to leave some feedback. And I also want to invite you into the journey into the Amazon in December, starting from the 5th to the 12th of December and the 14th to the 21st, to journey with me and my maestro, who I very trust since many years, bringing people to the Amazon for spiritual initiation, for physical healing. So if you're feeling called, please join me, reach out to me and know more. And yeah, if you have any other questions, please don't feel shy ever to reach out to me. And I invite you, before continuing with your day, to just take a moment to feel what questions and curiosity have arisen in listening to this. And I send you much love. Many blessings. And this was Lifting the Veil podcast with Mystery Anaha.